It's been a little while since I've done a bookish video for the channel, and what better way to get back into it to do a bookish themed video, which is based on several prompts that I'm going to get into in the scope of this video. This was a prompt that I did last year, but unfortunately because of a corrupted SD card, I lost all of the footage for that respective tag. So I'm doing it again this year, basing it on the Twitter thread that I created last year. So I think most of the answers for this respective prompt, and it's going to be across multiple videos, are going to be the same if I answered them. If I didn't, then I'm going to have an answer to them, so you'll know to look forward to that. Hi everyone, my name is Rose, also known as TA Summers. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a prompt that I did last year in 2023 during the month of February, which is Black History Month. And there was a thread that spelled out the 28 days of Black romance, which was created. I can't remember the name of the person who actually created this, but I can put the infographic up for your reference here to be able to spell out all of the prompts. I originally did a full video for this respective 28 days of Black romance, and it was about an hour and a half long, I think, like going through all of the prompts, and I had everything done. I had my choices made and everything, and my SD card got corrupted, so I lost everything. And I also lost the motivation to be able to do this video in terms of trying to refilm it and trying to redo it from scratch, because it was so much work I put into it, and just losing that was just kind of like really bummed me out. So I decided to try to refilm it, and what better time to be able to refilm it and redo it than during Black History Month and talking about Black romance and things like that during the month of February. The format of this is going to be a little bit different from my original video, because in my original video I did all 28 days, each of the different prompts, going through them pretty rapid fire. And I did expand on some choices, others I did not. So I figured what I wanted to do was kind of split this up into different pieces to kind of make it streamlined a little bit better, and not put so much pressure on myself to try to film it all in one go. So we'll go through the first 5 days, first 5 prompts in this respective video, and then we're going to do the other prompts in subsequent videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So the first prompt for this respective 28 days of Black romance was, what was the first Black romance you ever read? And I am happy to say that I do remember the book that I picked up, which was the official first Black adult romance that I read, and that was Donna Hill's A Private Affair, and this is the cover up for your reference. Now, I originally read this in my local library. I picked up a secondhand copy of the original cover, so this is the original cover that was published back in 1990. I believe it was 1998, if I remember correctly. Yes, 1998. So this is the original cover for it. This book is about a woman who is a successful published author who rekindles a relationship with a rival, I believe, writer, if I remember correctly. It has been a little while since I've read this book, and I have I own 2 different copies of it. This is the original cover. I'll also put the other Arabesque alternative cover up here for your reference. But to talk about why I wanted to pick up this novel and why I remember distinctly picking up this novel in terms of things, it's based on the fact I also told this story on Twitter for everyone's reference, but the reason why I wanted to pick up this book was because I remember watching trailer for the movie that this book was based on. It was an Arabesque film that was filmed by BET Films, and it was one of the the movies that I think, I don't know if it was the very first movie that was released by Arabesque Films for BET, but I do remember it was very distinctly like one of the movies that like I saw the trailer to, and I had asked my parents, one of my parents at the time, whether or not I could watch the movie, and they basically said, no, you cannot, you absolutely not, that's too mature for you. And so I think one of the reasons why like I ended up reading it, and I like several years after the movie came out, to kind of get around the fact that my parents didn't let me watch the movie in terms of things, so I wanted to read the book to kind of get around that. And it ended up being that I liked the book at the time, but there's so much, like, because it's been so long since I picked up the book, it's like I wanted to try to see if I could reread this. And also I have seen the movie. I was able to watch the movie like after the fact in terms of things. The movie stars Vanessa Bell Calloway as well as Clifton Powell, and there is a movie cover of the a respective book that is based on the film, and then I'll also post the movie poster up for your reference. But I had an idea to kind of like revisit this respective book, doing kind of like a series on my channel where I do like a book and the movie, and I give my thoughts on both of them to kind of like revisit. But this is one that I do want to try to see if I can reread for the channel and give my thoughts about it. So you can look forward to that at some point. But I do remember at the time that I read this that I liked it. I wonder how my thoughts would be about it in terms of things after the fact. I do remember that the heroine for this respective book was very, very pushy and pushed a lot of people away in her life. And I understood the reasons why at the time that I read it in terms of things. I don't know how that's going to hit with me coming back to it, like since I'm much older now, like, and coming back to it. But I do want to give it another shot and give my thoughts about it on the channel. So that is A Private Affair by Donna Hill. Second prompt question for 28 Days of Black Romance is favorite Black sports romance. And I honestly, as someone who has been in exercise science and loves like sports romance and things like that, I don't have one definitive sports romance that I adore. I adore a lot of them in terms of things, but I will say this about this: I don't think you can go wrong with sports romance that is written by Farrah Roshan. And I believe that the book that I chose for this respective prompt was I'll Catch You, which is part of, and I can't remember the name of this series, but I'll put that up here along with the cover for your reference. I originally read it as a Kamani romance title, which was published back in, I believe, 2011. And since the Kamani romance imprint is no longer available, like this original cover for it is no longer available, you can actually read the whole series that book belongs to on Audible. Like it's like republished, and like it's narrated on audiobook. So I told myself I wanted to do a review of that particular book on the channel, but I wanted to start from the the series beginning to be able to highlight it on the channel. So I don't think you can go wrong with Farrah Roshan. She is also the author of the Dating Playbook series. So that's just there for your reference in terms of things. So yeah, I think that's a pretty solid answer for that respective prompt. Question number 3, prompt number 3 of 28 Days of Black Romance. Name a book you shouldn't have been reading in middle school. Okay, there's a whole story behind this. So I remember being in middle school, and around the time, like, I believe, like, when the movie came out, like, it was a big deal, and I remember watching the trailer for Terry McMillan's How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I remember watching the trailer, and I remember wanting to see it, and my parents said, absolutely, you cannot. And I did remember or thinking, well, why, like, in terms of things, because like it had Angela Bassett, it had Taye Diggs, it had Whoopi Goldberg, it had just basically this all-star stellar cast of characters in terms of things. And like, you know, I thought that Angela Bassett was beautiful in that movie. I think she's beautiful now. I did at the time really want to see it, and I didn't really comprehend in terms of some of the mature themes of How Stella Got Her Groove Back at the time. So I ended up picking up the movie cover of it. This is the book, like with the movie cover, respective movie cover in a mass market paperback. I ended up picking up the book, picking up like a passage from the book where Stella and Winston are together. Winston is the I think he's 22-year-old Jamaican guy that she falls for while she's on vacation, and basically reading a steamy interlude between them, and I put the book down saying, nope, I'm not ready for this. So it's interesting, like, to me, like, in terms of like having picked up this book at a time when I was knew that I was not ready for it, and I put it down myself, and I had picked it up from the library, like in terms of like, you know, like just grabbing it off the shelf, like flipping through it and like going through and reading a passage, and that was the thing that said, okay, I'm not ready for this, let me put it down and come back to it later. So I did end up reading the book and also watching the movie much later on in terms of things, and it's been a little while since I've read this respective book. I remember I liked it at the time that I read it, but it has been a number of years, and I've wanted to come back to it at some point to be able to pick it up and read it again. So I definitely think it hits different knowing certain things about it now that I didn't know back then when I first initially read it. So what I may do is I may put this as part of the video series that I'm trying to do, that where I sit down, read the book, watch the movie, give my thoughts on both. So this is something that like I'll put on that respective list to be able to review and give my thoughts on. All right, so prompt number 4 of 28 Days of Black Romance. What is your favorite book best friend? And I think this was a very easy one for me to pick in terms of showcasing the relationship between every character that was in this respective book. This is Wash Day Diaries by Jamila Rouser and Robin Smith. Like, I loved the friendship of every single one of the characters in this respective book, and like being able to see their respective relationships and their interactions and things like that, and the different things that they go through. I thought this was very, very well done, and I did talk about it on the channel before in terms of it being one of my favorite reads, and so much so that I got a physical copy of it, like even though I had a galley copy like for my collections, and I'm really glad that I have it. So yeah, that's probably my choice for this respective topic in terms of favorite book best friend or best friends. And finally, question number 5, prompt number 5 for 28 Days of Black Romance. Name your favorite Black romance anthology. Okay, so I have a number of them. I figure I'd just center on one, and this is a collection of novellas that were written by one author who is Brenda Jackson. And it's been a little while since I've read this. I've read this quite a few times, and it's a collection of about 5 different novellas from this same author. This is Some Like It Hot by Brenda Jackson. And the story behind this respective collection in terms of me picking it up, I've told on Twitter, and I'll share it again now, but I remember going through one of my local Barnes & Noble books, and I was looking for specifically Black romance titles that were written by Black authors, and this was the very last copy that they had in the store. I don't think you can actually pick this book up as easily as it used to be. I don't know if it's out of print, but I did have a hard time like trying to find it, like in terms of being able to like showcase it, because I think this particular edition was published back in, not 100% sure, but I do know that the collection of stories ranged in publications from the year 2000 to 2006, I believe. So this was a compilation of like 5 different novellas with different tones to them and showcasing different relationships that I actually really liked and enjoyed. And I think I would do a better service of being able to talk about each of the different stories in a separate video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pin in it and actually review this for the channel and review all 5 stories. I think one of my favorites was actually the first novella that was in this, which was called Main Agenda, and I do remember that well, but the other stories I kind of really want to do a more deep dive. But I did remember that I liked the chemistry between the couples in this respective compilation, and that it was one that I definitely wanted to retain in my collection. So I'm glad that I had this, and it is one that I would recommend. And so that is it for this respective video. Very quick, very brief showcase of a lot of these different prompts, and I have more to come in videos like for the channel in terms of things. It may be that I upload this on off days in terms of things, to be able to get it off during Black History Month and being able to highlight Black romance. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be informed of when I post new videos. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you next video.